The more that I live, the more that I realize that nobody knows what they're doing. Everybody is guessing or figuring it out as they go along or making their best guesstimations, trial and error, all these things. Like nobody knows what they're doing. It's like when you're a kid and you looked up to your parents because you thought they had all the answers. You thought they were infallible. You thought they were superheroes. You thought they could make anything happen. You didn't understand. You didn't have the understanding that these were just people figuring it out as they go along. And so I think in our own lives, we look at other people and we see this person and say like, oh, they're successful. They must have secrets that I don't have. But really, the only difference between you and that person is that that person gave themselves room and grace to explore and to try things and to figure it out as they go along. I don't think anybody knows what they're doing. No one knows what they're doing until they're doing it. It's all about experimentation. Just like with science fair projects, you make a hypothesis, you make your best guess, and you try to, put trials together to either confirm or to push against your conclusion or your hypothesis. And in the conclusion, you realize, oh shoot, I was right about this thing or I was wrong about this thing. And I think a lot of people are wrapped up with the fear of failure because they feel like if it doesn't turn out the way that I want it to turn out, then I have somehow failed. When really, when things don't turn out the way that you want them to turn out, it is an opportunity for you to learn. It is a gift. Failure can be a gift. It can be the doorway through infinite possibilities, but you'll never know because you're too afraid to open that door to failure, to try because you might fail. You'll never know what goodness lies on the other side of that door. And a lot of us are cheating ourselves out of wisdom, knowledge, experience, confidence, right? Self-esteem, all these things that come along with failing, with trial and error. We're cheating ourselves out of it because we're afraid of failure. We're afraid of what it means to fail at something. We walk around through life expecting to be perfect, expecting to be infallible, expecting to have all the answers. But just like our parents didn't know what they were doing and they did the best with what they could, with what they had, with what they knew, we have to give ourselves that same grace. We have not been here before. This is our first time living. I have never been a human before, right? And so for me to expect myself to have all the answers, to not fall, to not fail, to not make mistakes, is really being harmful to myself. It's being cruel to myself. Why don't we give ourselves enough grace and space to learn and to grow? Because the only way you can grow is by failing, is by leaving something behind and saying, you know what, this served me or it didn't serve me, but I'm moving on to something else. And if we ever get to a point in life where we are no longer learning, where we are no longer failing, where we're no longer trying something different, we stop growing. We stop living. We stop being. We're so fearful of what other people might say if something doesn't work out the way that we want it to work out. We're afraid that if we fail at something, it confirms a deeper belief that we have about ourselves. So is the fear of failure really about the failure itself, or is it about what it means about us? Because we've seen people fail at something and we've been encouraging. You'll get them next time. It's okay. You can't win them all. From this failure, you'll learn something else. We give these graces and these kind words to other people, but we don't give it to ourselves. And I often wonder, is it because we don't really believe that we are worthy, that we are valuable, that we are smart, that we are intelligent, that we are creative, that we're good enough? Because I think for myself, the fear of failure is not necessarily about failure itself, because I know failures will happen. I'm human. I know this about me. I know that I'm not perfect. So then why am I so afraid of what I know being realized? And so I had to go deeper into that fear. Is the fear really failure? What would it mean if I failed at something? Let's use a specific example, right? We're going to do this exercise together. Pick your fear of failure. What are you afraid of failing at? Okay. Then ask yourself why. So for myself, I am singing a song. I'm afraid of hitting a sharp note or being flat or forgetting my words. And to me, that would be seen as a failure, right? So what is the fear? Why am I afraid of that? Because that means that I'm not a good performer. And so what would that mean about me if I was not a good performer? That means that I'm not talented. So my fear is not necessarily about failing. It's the fear of something being confirmed, an insecurity that I already have being confirmed by this thing not working out. And that fear is that I am not talented, that I'm not good enough, that people have been lying to me my whole life about me being able to sing, that somehow I have lost my gift, that I have no significance or importance. We've talked about this before, right? That's the fear. The fear is that I'm not significant. It's not about the failure. It's about my feeling of insignificance. So if my fear is really showing me, my fear of failure is showing me my insecurities, then I can remedy those actual insecurities. Because now if I'm giving myself permission to try something new, to not be good at it, if I'm giving myself permission to fail, if I'm giving myself permission to grow, right, to learn, then something else needs to be fed, and that's my self-esteem. When I'm worried about not being significant, why do I feel insignificant? Where does that come from, right? Really, and obviously this might take longer than a day or a video to figure it out, but really figure out, like, where are these insecurities coming from? Why do I feel insignificant? Who told me that I was insignificant if I didn't sing? If I never sang another word, why do I feel like I'll be insignificant if I don't sing? So do I think that my worth comes from my performance? Do I think that my worth comes from people applauding me? Those are those people-pleasing things coming about, right? Like, I told you all that I'm a recovering people pleaser. So for me, my insecurities come from the need to please other people. And so I will forfeit my own dreams if I'm not careful, trying to please and get the applause of other people. And so I think when we're talking about failure, we really need to define what failure is, but also like what it confirms if we do fail. Like what's the worst that could happen? If I fail, what is the worst that can happen? I give up. That's the worst that can happen. It's not even about people saying that I'm a failure, calling me names. It's really about me giving up on myself. It's really the fear of me coming to the conclusion that I am not significant, that I am not talented, that I am not brilliant, right? That I am not a good singer. That's the fear. Failure, all failure is information. That's all it is. Failure is showing you, hey, you tried it this time, great job, but next time let's do it this way. Just like with these science fair experiments, right? We go to school, we do the project, and we say, you know what? That plant did not grow in the soil. I always like plants. My plant did not grow in the soil. Maybe if I tried a different soil, it would fare better, right? We're not beating ourselves up when it comes to experimenting or playing or doing something new or different because we don't know what we're doing. Nobody knows what they're doing until they do it. No one knows. It's a big game of figuring it out. We're seeing in real time people and platforms and businesses who we thought were successful are crumbling, right? And so for a long time we said, that was success. That is what I want to aim to be. But then you're really being shown the inside parts and how rotten it is. So we're judging our successes and our brilliance on things that are fallible, right? Things that do fail, things that are destroyed, things that are corrupt. And so we have to have a good sense of self and self-esteem to be able to try new ventures, do new things. Because if you don't have that foundation of knowing that you're worthy and you're good enough, that fear of failure will keep you and cripple you. It will, because you will see that opportunity to learn something new as an indictment or judgment on yourself. You will see you not being perfect, but you know you're not perfect, right? You know you're not perfect, which is why you have insecurities in the first place. That's a whole other thing. You know you're not perfect, but yet you're holding yourself to a perfect standard. Is that fair? Is that kind? Is that kind to yourself? It's not. Is that kind to your gift? It's not. Is it kind to the thing that you want to try? It's not. Give yourself grace and space to fall and to fail. I walk into opportunities now with the intention of failing because failure does not feel so heavy to me anymore. And also, we have to do the work of defining what success is. Do you know what success is? Does your success have to look like everybody else's version of success? Does your success have to be qualified by what other people do? No. If I want to define my success as me coming up here and being authentic and being myself and sharing and posting, wonderful. That means no matter who watches it, who likes it, who comments on it, right? Who supports it, who subscribes, none of that are markers of success. None of them, because I create what success is for me. If I am sharing something on my heart, if I'm being honest and authentic and brave enough to show up in spaces that's scary, I see myself as a success. I did it. I did the thing. I did the only thing that I can control, which is showing up. And for a lot of us, we're fearing failure, so we're not even showing up. So we're failing in the beginning anyway. We actualize our fears. Our fear is failure, and you not showing up and being yourself is the failure. It's not in you trying the thing. You failing to show up, you failing to give yourself opportunity, you failing to give yourself a chance, right? You failing to be kind to yourself. That's the failure. So ironically, you think you're avoiding failure by not sharing, but really You're confirming that you are a failure, right, in your own mind, because you're not giving yourself permission to show up. People who we consider failures, we don't give them a chance. We don't give them an opportunity. And because you don't think that you are a success, because you think that you are a failure, you won't give yourself the opportunity. It's more than just about failing. It's more than the fear of making mistakes. You know you're human. You know you're going to make a mistake. So what is really the fear? It's not really the fear of failure, is it? Because is that the worst thing that can happen? That you fail and you realize, oh, I need to do something different? If that's the case, then you're putting way too much pressure on yourself in the first place. You either have a very high standard for yourself or very low, right? Either you think so highly of yourself that you think that you're above reproach, that you're above criticism, that you're above making mistakes, which is not a healthy perspective to have of yourself. Or you think lowly of yourself and you're like, why even try? Why even bother? Everything I do fails anyway, right? But getting to that healthy middle is saying, you know what? I might fail at this. It might not work. And yet and still I give myself the chance and opportunity, because I'm deserving of that, to try anyway, to do my best and have my best be the win, be the success. Having myself show up honestly and authentically and kindly and generously, that could be your marker of success. You get to define what success is. When I'm posting on YouTube, there are infinite things in the back channel telling me, oh, you're a failure because you didn't have this many people watch your video. You're a failure because, people didn't watch for this length of time. You're a failure because you didn't get these many likes. If we're not careful, the world will teach us what we should consider failures and successes. And a lot of that is vanity anyway. A lot of that is based on stuff that does not matter anyway. That's not true to our souls and our spirits anyway. A lot of that stuff is based on what somebody else thinks success is. And if we're not careful, we will become empty, trying to pour all of ourselves out, chasing what other people think is success. That's not it. That's not what success is. And it's built that way to keep you discontent and unsatisfied. You will never be satisfied chasing other people's approval. Never. It will never be enough. There will always be someone who has something to say. There will always be somebody who has this, offering to give, whether it's solicited or not, right? There's advice to give. And it can be well-meaning and well-wishing. But if you're not centered and know who you are, know what works for you, you'll be blown by every wind. Every time somebody says something, you'll be like, oh, let me do this. Oh, you think, maybe I should do this, right? Because you don't know who you are. And you're not giving yourself enough room and time to figure out who you are, what you like, what works for you. Because I can tell you now, the work that millionaires do to be millionaires, I'm not willing to do that work because I don't want to. That's not success to me, right? But yes, I do want to live well. I do want to be at rest, at peace. I don't want to work all the time. I don't want to wake up thinking about work. But somebody else would say, your sole purpose is to be here to make money and to do all these things, right? And I would still be unhappy and unfulfilled because that's not what success is for me. And I argue that I don't think that's success for anybody. Just having a bunch of money, sure, it looks good, it sounds good, but are you happy? Are you fulfilled? Do you know who you are? Are you missing out on living your life chasing this version of success that is evasive, that is not evasive, that is elusive, that is always changing and moving, and you can never hold on to it. You can never grasp it. You can never grasp it because there's never enough. And it's made that way on purpose so that you never feel enough. So you keep grinding, you keep hustling, you keep giving your energy and your sacred energy to things that never satisfy, to black holes that never satisfy. You have to define what success is for you. The fear of failure is just the beginning. It's just the surface. What is under it? What's going on, right? Like, why do you think that if you sing a song and people don't cheer you on, that your whole existence no longer deserves to be seen as worthy and valuable, but you're going to label yourself a failure? What is that? What is that? Why are we more kind to other people than we are ourselves? Why are we kinder to other people than we are ourselves? It's really been helpful to look at myself as a child, because if I had a child and my child was like, yeah, I tried this thing, it didn't work, I'm a failure, I would correct them. I would tell them the truth, right? But as we grow older, we lose that kindness for ourselves. We lose that grace. We lose that truth. Because, oh, I'm a big girl now. I'm an adult now. I have to chase people's approval. No, you don't. No, you don't. I'm the same person and I deserve the same kindness that I got when I was a child. And I'm choosing, even if other people don't see me as worthy and valuable, I'm going to see myself as worthy and valuable, because I don't need them to be successful. Does that make sense? I don't need the approval of people who seek to misunderstand me, destroy me, not love me in the first place. Like, why am I chasing their affections when I have all the affections I need here and here and here, right? Like, when I know who I am and whose I am, when I know that my voice is valuable, when I know that what I have to say is important, just like what everybody else has to say is important too, right? When I give myself that kindness, I'm no longer caught up worrying about fear of failure. I'm no longer worried about things not working out the way that they need to, because they always work out the way that they need to. Remember, everything works out the way that it's meant to. It may not work out the way that we want to, right? But everything works out the way that it needs to, because sometimes what we want is not what we need. It's not. And sometimes what we want is bare minimum when God wants more for us. Like, sometimes we only ask for what we think we deserve, right? And sometimes the vision of ourselves is skewed. Sometimes the vision of ourselves is wrong. And so things that we're trying to do sometimes fail, because I feel like God is trying to show us that you're worth more than that. No, that relationship's not going to work because they don't love you. They don't see you as a sacred human being, right? No, that job is, you're not going to be happy at that job because I don't want you working here being abused by people who pay you pennies, right? There is opportunity with failure. And if we are so concerned with avoiding failure, we will never grow, we will never learn, we will never understand, we will never mature. And a part of maturing is failing. It's being like, you know what? I don't know everything. I'm not perfect. I do have room to improve. And if we always rest in a place of, like, that in-between place of, I have brilliance, I am worthy, I am enough, and my container to learn is open and ready to receive, then that fear of failure cannot choke us up, because we know we're waiting to be shown a different way, a new way, right? It's not the end of the world if you fail. It's not. It is an opportunity for you to learn. It is a gift. Failure is a gift. Failure is a gift. And the only way to grow is by failing. Is by things not working out the way that we want them to work out. Because sometimes when it doesn't work out the way that we want it to, beautiful surprises come that we couldn't even dream of, plan, think of, right? But you're so worried about failing, you won't even take the first step. Trust. What I trust, because I even used to worry about this, like with praying. God, I want to do this thing, but I don't want to fail. And so what I'm open to now is God redirecting me where I need to go. It is no longer up to me to have the answers to everything. What I'm open to is taking the steps that I think are the best steps to take in the moment, praying about it, going with God, and then allowing God to reorient me, to redirect me. Like, if I trust God that if I am walking the wrong way, God will nudge me the right way. That it's not up to me to have all the answers, because that's not fair. I'm only 32 years old. Even if I was 95, I would not have all the answers. I am human. I am human, sweetie. Like, and if I am putting this pressure on myself to be God, to have all the answers, to know everything, I'm out of alignment. That's my ego. That's my pride. The fear of failure is really about pride and ego. It's really about the need to be God-like. But we know that we're not God. We know. And yet we still try to hold us to the standard of God. That's wild. Like, again, I always say this. I'm saying this to you as I'm saying it to myself. The fear of failure is really about pride and arrogance sometimes, right? Or even self-deprecation, which are two sides of the same coin. It's all about pride. It's all about ego. It's all about how you see yourself. You see yourself as not worthy. Therefore, you won't allow yourself to take the opportunity to take the chance, because you don't want to confirm that you're not worthy, or you're afraid of doing something that you're not good at. It's me. You're afraid of doing something you're not good at because you know that you're not good at it, because everything you do, you want to be good at. But I promise you, everybody that's good at something was horrible at it first. They failed first. They failed through, right? They stumbled well. They fell and they got up and said, okay, you know what? Good to know. I'm not going to take that route anymore because it has thorns. It has, like, rocks in the road, right? Let me try a different path. But they will never be directed to that right path if they took the wrong one. And so may you stop avoiding failure. May you not see failure as this stamp of worthlessness. May you see it as an opportunity to learn, to thrive, to become, right? To learn, to really become the person that you want to become in the world. That person that you think of, like, I want to be this person, this, like, I know I have the potential. And you do, it's in you, like that seed we talked about, that seed inside of you, right? But you got to put that thing in the ground and grow it. It's dark in there. It's dark in the ground. It's cold, it's wet. You don't know what's happening. You're waiting for the thing to happen, to grow, to sprout. But when it does, what joy, right? But the fear of failure is stopping you from planting in the first place. There is no perfect time. There is no perfect opportunity. There's only now. There's only now. Perfection doesn't exist, which means you could take the pressure off of yourself to have to be perfect and have all the answers, and you can be open to failure. And I would argue the only failure is you not showing up in the first place. You can't fail if you're trying. If you're in movement, there's no failure. There's no failure. I think about like brake failure. Brake failure is a failure for them brakes to break, okay? For them joints to come together or whatever is happening, right? In the same way, failure is only when you stop engaging, when you stop doing, when you stop making, when you stop trying, when you stop giving yourself permission to be human. That's the only failure, is you not trying in the first place. So please, I understand the fear of failure is real, but really question that thing, interrogate it, tear it apart, get to the root of that thing. What is this really coming from? Oh, I fear not having significance because I went so long feeling like I was not significant. I went so long feeling unseen, feeling unloved, feeling unimportant, feeling invisible, feeling like I didn't matter. And so I'm afraid that if I fail, it's going to confirm what everybody was telling me through thought, action, or word, right? That's the fear. It has nothing to do with me singing, because singing is just singing. Singing is just singing. Showing up on this video is just showing up on this video. I know that this, 22-minute video at this point in time has no bearing on my worth. This is not a full introspection of Alicia, right? This is a piece of me. This is literally a 2D version of who I am. But I know that I'm 3D. I know that I'm multidimensional. So why am I worried that if a video doesn't perform well, it means something about who I am as a person? Why am I giving it that much power? Because I am seeking significance. I'm seeking belonging. I'm seeking love. But that has to start here. And that's the reason why we want to confront our fears, not run from them, not hide from them. We need to confront them so that we can understand what they're trying to tell us about ourselves. My fear of failure is telling me that I need to do more work, loving myself and reminding myself that I am worthy, that I am enough, that I am significant. So that when I show up on stages or in videos or putting on programs or starting my business, whatever it is, when I'm traveling, right? That the fear, that fear is actually a mirage. It's actually just leading me. The fear is my friend because it's leading me to self-reflection and asking questions that I need to ask, interrogating myself, interrogating my beliefs. That's the point. The point is not to run from it and to be afraid, is to confront it and say, thank you for showing this about me. Now I can do my work so that I can show up in the world being authentically me without fear that if people don't show up, if people don't like it, that I am somehow insignificant. Thank you for showing me that I need to focus on building my self-esteem, my understanding of self, my understanding of success. So, the fear of failure. The fear of failure is a mirage. It is an invitation to move, to interrogate, and to do, and to give yourself grace to be human. So yes, I pray that you be kind to yourself, be kind to one another, love yourself, love each other, and I will talk to you all in the next one.